This is Kay Walten, and you're listening to Me, Myself, and I Radio.
Welcome to Me, Myself, and I Radio, a self-discovery podcast. Here are stories of transformation and hope with your host, Anthony Hayes. It's time to be inspired. Let's go.
Gotta get up, it's early morning. Drank so hard last night, my lids are swollen. Got my guitar, gotta get to a studio. Got a track and I think it's gonna hit, yo. It's been so many years and there's been so many tears, and it's gonna be well worth the pain, see, when all my people line up to see me. Cause I got no money, got no home.
If you enjoyed that introduction song, that is Lovestruck Robot coming through again with the tunes, this time with Do It All for the Dream. Head on over to lovestruckrobot.com or download that on iTunes right now. Good morning, good afternoon, hip hip hooray, me, myself, and I Radio Tribe. Here with another lovely guest today. Can't wait to get into this. My co-pilot on today's self-discovery journey has quite literally discovered herself by discovering the world. Today, Kay is a podcaster. She's also a member of the Podcast Discovery Center, the private Facebook group that me and Scott run, as you guys all know. And her show, Loco Gringo Mexico podcast, teaches the world about a rich culture in Riveria Maya, talking to locals and sharing the hidden gems that can be uncovered. So think of it as an audio guide, if you will. In order to explore Kay's Me, Myself, and I elements, guys, her self-discovery journey of the past, present, and future, she's going to tell us not only about her exciting explorations, but also some difficulties she's faced along the way. Kay Walten,
thank you.
Let's get into Me, Myself, and I, shall we?
Wow, well, thanks for that introduction. Wow, I got goosebumps on that. Wow, I'm almost a little speechless here. I'm just like, wow, I'm a little nervous.
No, don't be. It's totally awesome.
Great.
Wow, it's funny because when you get to know somebody as much as you think you know them, you're only touching on the surface. So we kind of set this whole thing up. I was like, oh, cool, Kay from the group, and it's gonna be cool. And I've heard her on other interviews, and I've listened to her show and stuff. But then you really start getting into it, right? You get into the background, you get into the cave diving, and all these. I mean, just wow. Just to all these things to get to today. I mean, you must be such a much stronger woman from overcoming these obstacles and exploring these things and stuff. Walk me through how you got to today.
Well, it's really interesting because for me to sit and, my years as an underwater cave explorer, moving to Mexico, to me, none of it seems overly amazing. It's just what I do. I find what's really kind of mind-bending for me is that when I was in school back in college days, I failed out of computer engineering and went into marketing. And then suddenly I'm CEO of one of the first online reservation services. And I taught myself how to program and everything. And so, here I am running an internet business, and I failed out of computer engineering. But I guess I wasn't real savvy. That was the days of punch cards and the big IBM computers in an air-conditioned room. So that kind of gives everybody an idea of my age. My life before Mexico was interesting, and I was leading the typical standard path that most people lead. Wanting to be in the corporate world. I was in advertising back in the 80s and worked for some really big firms and some of the smaller places. But when I started my passion with diving that the door of life began to open for me, and to get then and to really kind of give up this, the image of what my family and what society wanted was to say, okay, you go to this job, and suddenly now I go, no, I'm packing up, I'm leaving for Mexico because I've learned how to scuba dive and cave dive, and I'm headed south of the border.
I love that. Just breaking the mold, not worrying about other people's expectation and just living up to your own, following your passion. I mean, it's so much of what we talk about here on the show with, everything from writing to careers to mindset. And it sounds like you've encompassed all that in your period of time. So that's totally awesome. You said you have a marketing background. You climbed Mount Kilimanjaro.
Yeah, I did. It was kind of just happened. About 2010, a girlfriend of mine from Mexico, she said, "Hey, you want to go to Tanzania with me to do dog and donkey clinics across Tanzania?" Without hesitation, I went, "Sure." And what that meant was that we were going to go out in the bush and talk to these villages about treating their donkeys, which are equivalent to a John Deere tractor, take care of their donkeys better,
Right.
and to vaccinate dogs for rabies and everything. Kilimanjaro is there in Tanzania. And I said, you know what? I'm going to climb this mountain. I don't want to do it unless I can do something beneficial with that effort. And what I did was use the climb to promote raising money to establish a sewing school in Kahama, Tanzania. But we raised enough money. We have 2 classrooms and everything. And now it's become the school's become part of the community, and other
That's
NGOs
so
come in there to come and do programs there. So it was really cool. Now I didn't hit the summit, I will say, at Kili, but it was funny because as we talk about, me, myself, and I, it was a huge discovery because here I am, this big macho, cave explorer. Mexico's was when I moved there, a very macho country. And I was in technical diving, which at the time there were very few women in it. And I was one of 2 in Mexico, in our area of Mexico. So I was used to being, real macho myself, hanging out with all the guys, thinking, yeah,
right.
tough,
popping Coronas.
Exactly, and
Gotcha.
and so here I am now in climbing Kilimanjaro, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to show them. So the first day off, I'm like first in the lead. The altitude really got to me, and I didn't realize it. So slowly, I wound up being at the end of the group. And as we got closer and closer to the summit, I got up to almost 18,000 feet. But what I found is I realized how much ego threat there was. And I really had to take time to look at that ego threat, because it was my ego going, I can do this. And I couldn't do it as well as I thought because I had these expectations, and I had to it was a very humbling experience. And ultimately, I had to take that experience when I had to finally turn around because the altitude sickness had gotten me enough, is I had to make a decision whether I was going to jeopardize the whole team by trying to push myself to the summit and potentially creating a medical emergency, or saying, okay, I've got to go down now. You guys go on. And, one of the Sherpas took me down. So that was a huge learning lesson for me. Aside from the fact, really beautiful climb, and it was a great group that I was out with.
Yeah, I bet.
But to have that reality of looking at my ego and really humbling myself to the point of where, I'm just this person. I have no person. I have no, there's not, I was just a being at that point. I wasn't,
Yes.
Kay Walten,
That's
or,
that's a perfect word. Yes, you just were.
And it was nice. Yeah, I just was. And at times I was a crying mess. That was a great experience. Sorry, I get off because, I have such romantic feelings about that. It was such an incredible experience.
No, that's great. I mean, I could totally hear it in your voice. So you'd say, like, mentally you're prepared and your mindset was right to make this climb, but just the physical overcame. Is that what you're saying, basically?
Yeah, I had to accept my limitations and, realize that, the mind is willing, but the body just was like, hey, we've hit the wall here, girlfriend, we got to turn around and go back down. And it was really hard for me, as I am at, almost 18,000 feet, crying in bitter cold, going, I don't want to go down, because my spirit really wanted to see the summit. I wanted to see the sunrise on top of Kili, but I had to admit limitations. And I think that it's a very big illustration of our day-to-day mountains that we all climb, is that we all have to face our limitations. You don't have to go to a mountain to kind of see some stuff, but you just step back. If you can put ego aside and some of the other things that we have from society and family, is to look and say, sometimes we do have limitations. We may have great aspirations, but there are some limitations or some things that we might have to work on in order to hit our goal.
Ooh, totally stealing that for the blog. I'm quoting you. That was awesome. Yes. Kay hit it out of the park. Interview over. No, I'm just kidding. I could totally relate with that because I turned 32. I'm telling everybody my age. I turned 32 in June, and I'm in a very physical job. So I'm working alongside of 20-somethings, and I can go just as fast, if not faster than them. But at the end of the day, when I get home, boy, let me tell you, do I feel it. I feel it. So I can totally, but I want to keep going. I want to do more. I come home, I take care of the baby, and then I'll jump on, I'll write a blog post, or I'll edit some podcasts, and I want to keep going. But at some point, just my body gives out, even though my mind still wants to do.
Well, I think that in now in an age when mindfulness has become so important, is that we have to listen to our bodies. I had the alarm set at 4:30 this morning. I was going to go to the gym, but I knew I was tired, and I had to go, okay, can I just push myself through this, or do I need that extra? Does my body need something else? In this case, it was a little more sleep. And I think nowadays, which you don't, when you're in your 20s, you don't think about mindfulness. You just go, do. But as we age, and I think it also comes with wisdom, is to go, wait a minute, you know what? My body needs this. And so sometimes I think we have to stop listening to our minds and listen to our bodies.
Yeah. I'm getting to that point right now where it's kind of like, I feel like, I've already proved myself and what I'm capable of, even though I'm still proving myself every day. But I also have to take a step back and say, it'll get done, whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm working on. It just might take a little longer. But as long as I get it done and make steps in that forward momentum, everything is going to be all right. So I have to constantly talk myself off the ledge, because I'm just, I'm very stubborn when it comes to that. So
I understand. I sometimes have to step back and go, okay, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time?
Right.
Because I just want it all done. I just want to do and get it all complete and everything, and to grab that brass ring and sometimes go, no, little steps, baby steps.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right. Well, that was totally cool and refreshing to hear. At least I know I'm not alone in the world with my constant wanting to overachieve. So thank you for putting my mind at ease. So with everything that's going on at locogringo.com and the podcast, do you have a team that does it with you? How do you manage this mega resource that it's come to be? Because I looked at the website, it's like, I want to go there. You know what I mean?
Oh, good. No, it's really been interesting, because it started off, it was a one-woman show, and we've had bigger teams and smaller teams. And right now we have about a team of 6 or 7. And I say 6 or 7 because I have some part-time people. But the thing that Loco Gringo has done, and it's really taken on an incredible life of its own. I just thought it was going to make an extra, $10,000 a year back in '96 when we started, and I would just be able to pay the rent because I was only making $400 a month diving. But the thing that with Loco Gringo is that we took to podcasting as an extension. Loco Gringo has a reservation service, and we help custom plan vacations and everything, is our mainstay. But what we do is we always want to set the bar higher. So, we were the first with, forums and webcams, and we were blogging before there was a term called blogging.
Right.
And one of the things that inspired me to start our podcast was, one, nobody was doing it. So of course it's another form of exploration. Let's explore this. What will podcasting do for our brand? What will it do for our customers? And one of the things I've seen now, keep in mind, when I moved to Mexico in '92 in the Riveria Maya, it was just a rural road. There were lots of beaches, not a lot of people and everything, not a lot. And there streets, rolled up at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. There wasn't a lot of excitement. But as the years have gone on and we've had development, now there's a lot of big corporations in there. The one thing that's made our area very special is the people that make up the fabric of the area, the people, the culture, the environment. I took to podcasting to help bring a real factor, because you really, you want to hear what the locals do. You want to know where I'm going to go and eat my tacos, or where I'm going to chill out when I'm, when I've got my Sunday afternoon off. Yeah. And so I took to hear people's journeys, and that is one of the most beautiful things. Some people I've known for 20 years, and it has given me as an interviewer, it has given me a wonderful opportunity to dive deeper with people.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, whenever I go somewhere on vacation, one of the first things I ask, if I'm staying at a hotel, is I'll ask somebody that works there, one of the guys or whatever, where is the best restaurant? I was like, not Fridays, not any of these other chains for the tourists. I was like, where do you go eat dinner? And I always get the information like that. And when I go somewhere, I want to jump in a cab. I want to kind of go off the beaten path a little bit. So like if I take a cruise ship, for instance, into Mexico, I don't stay in the main strip. I jump in a cab. I'll tell you a little story here. We told the cab driver to bring us to a bar. We wanted to hang out with, some of the people that were on the cruise, the girls. So all he heard, the cab driver, keep in mind we spoke very little Spanish, was girls and bar. So here we are 15 minutes later. We show up in this bar. It's called the Verde Room. It was kind of smoky, not really well lit. Me and my cousin look at each other and we're like, something seems off about this. Wasn't too many people there. So we said, let's just grab a beer and then we'll go somewhere else. So we sit down, we grab a beer, and not even before we got our beer served to us, about 9 women are standing around our bar stools, talking to us, putting their hands on our shoulders. And we looked at each other and we're like, I think we're in the wrong place. And it was like, I still to this day don't even know what that place was, but it was not for us. So we just, drank our beers and got out of there. But that was, that was interesting. I will never forget that.
No, I mean, and that's one, but that's a story like that's one of those great stories that people have in their mind that they can see happening in Mexico. And it's one of those things that make up some of the color of our area. Great story.
Yeah, it was totally cool. So, you were there when it started. You were there for the evolution, and your passion is to really just keep the culture and the really genuine, authentic stuff about Mexico alive, and that's totally awesome and refreshing to hear.
You don't have to go to Kilimanjaro or be a cave diver to be an explorer. And for some people, stepping foot outside of your hotel room, maybe in some people just going to Mexico, going to another country, is exploration. And so it's exploration of it. Exploration is what it is to you. Everybody has their definition of it. So you don't have to do these big things.
Yeah, little things may seem huge to somebody else, right?
When I started Loco Gringo back in '96 was the fact to inspire people to step beyond their boundaries a little bit and push themselves and explore and discover on their own, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's totally wicked. I love it. Everything sounds like it's been very fun, exciting. Now, let's get heavy for a second. Where at some point did you get tripped up? What was an obstacle that you faced to become the Kay we know today?
I remember calling my home collect on a payphone, in my suit with a beer, and said, Mom, Coca-Cola pays to hear what I have to say, and nobody here cares what I have to say. I ate lunch alone in the employee cafeteria a lot because, I was the only gringa, the only foreigner there. And so that was hard coming. Not only I was facing the cultural issues of being a foreigner, I was also facing the fact that women were second-class citizens. And I learned in time how to work it and how I could have influence standing behind a man. and paying attention. It wasn't that I was taking a subservient role. It's kind of seeing how can I work the system.
Gotcha. So you became did you become reclusive at that time? Were you kind of really in your own head? Were you depressed down? Was it just a dark time for you then?
It wasn't entirely a dark time. It was a struggle for sure, and there were some lessons there. I think, one of the darker times, and I think this is really something I experienced as an entrepreneur, was that I gave up my identity. My identity became the company. And, I wanted to be all things to all people. And in my mind, I just said, okay, I'm going to be this disco ball. And I would reflect back what people wanted to see. People wanted to see me as a successful entrepreneur. People thought, I was this expat who just lived life on the beach with her toes in the sand and a margarita in her hand. And I was trying to be all these things to all these people, and it was exhausting. I had battled, depression runs in my family. So I had bouts over the years of depression, and I have been on and off antidepressants. And I found that at this time I was off antidepressants. I said, I'm not going to do this. And with my exhaustion, and loss of identity internally, my loss of identity, I didn't know how to ask for help. And I really was in a dark place. And when you live in the land of happy hour, it's really easy to self-medicate over a margarita. I saw, as I was struggling with this, it had a ripple effect. Because I was down, or I just didn't have my energetic self going and be the big cheerleader and keep pushing and driving the business. It had a ripple effect. It affected the business. I finally went back on antidepressants and said, okay, and got back on the horse again. And then what I found was that there were people who I love who said, you don't need those. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps. You don't need to take anything. Come on. You don't want any chemicals in your body, blah, blah, blah. And what I found is that I said, okay, great. I can whip this. I can do this. I don't need anybody's help, or I don't need this medication. And I went off the medication again, but I started going down this vortex. The thing that really woke me up is I was in the United States, and I had gone for like a women's wellness test and everything. And they were interested in some possible lumps in my breast. And of course, everybody, jump and go, oh, breast cancer. And right. So I was going through these tests. And what I found is I was sitting in a Starbucks parking lot crying, was that I was hoping that I was going to be sick because it gave me the opportunity to rest. I had my excuse then to rest, which is what I needed.
It's interesting.
And I thought, this is an absolutely screwed up way of thinking. This is just a mess. You want to be sick, so you have an excuse to take it easy, not only take it easy on myself, but to back away from work a little bit.
The mind plays tricks on you. It plays dirty tricks on you sometimes. I totally get it. So with that, I said, you know what? I have to stop this. And I went back. I've been in therapy, which is, I think has been a fabulous thing, to do. And it's not because I'm crazy. It's just helps me sort out some of the bullshit. Absolutely.
These beliefs and things that I've been toting around.
Yeah.
And so went back, got back on antidepressants and just rocking the world again. And I've recently just had a friend of mine really pissed me off who said, you know what? People don't need that. And I said, don't ever say that to me again. And don't you ever judge people on what they need. If they need something, you wouldn't yell at somebody for taking diabetes medicine or heart medicine or anything like that. So if this is what I need, this is what I need. If this is, whatever it is people need, that's what they need. And
Exactly.
it is wrong. It is wrong for any of us to put a judgment on that and say, oh, well, just dust yourself off, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And true, there are times when, yes, you do have to do that. I'm not saying there's some times that you do need to dust yourself off. But there are the moments and there are situations in life where, you know what, you need a little help.
Yeah, absolutely. I tried it both ways, and I found that a combination sounds like you is the best thing for me. I wonder if along the way that, because Tribe, if you're listening, Kay just like blasted through a lifetime of wisdom, a lifetime of obstacles and victories in a matter of like 30 minutes. So I hope, and I know you guys are soaking this in, we got in our time machine and we did the past, present, future K. So to bring everything full circle, there's got to be some resources or books or something that helped you along with your journey in some way that the listeners might kind of also resonate with. What would you say that would be?
Oh, you know what? Codependency. And I've gone to 12-step programs for codependency. And if anything, if you can't afford to go to therapy, go to a 12-step class. Even you don't have to be an alcoholic or an addict, but if you go to a 12-step, you help dump some of your day into a room with non-judgmental people. So I definitely say, cool. Any of the 12-step programs, whether it's, one of the anonymous programs, or there's even some that are Christian based if people kind of go towards that I would definitely recommend. Books, one of my most favorite authors is Brene Brown, and she has several books out there called, one is The Gifts of Imperfection and Daring Greatly, two of my most favorite books.
Those are awesome resources. I'm going to put those links in the blog and on the show notes and stuff so people can go check that out too. So, at the end of every show, we kind of like to reflect back on our times of chaos and when we really were just getting started in life. And that's right around the time where you're 21 was where, you'd say we become an adult officially, if you will. So if you're looking back on your life, Kay, what would you tell your 21-year-old self?
If I was talking to myself, is to dream big. But not hang on to those dreams that you're just locked into them. Because my dreams at 21 and my dreams at 31 and 41 have all changed. But to dream big and to work towards them and to really visualize what you want and to not be so, have such a tight grasp on them that you're missing other opportunities. So you want to be working towards one, but you also kind of want to keep looking around because you may find something at 21 years old, you may find something that's out there that you didn't even realize exists.
Gotcha. So dream big and be able to adapt on that journey as well. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. That's what I wanted to say. You made it sound so much more eloquent.
I don't know about that. But thank you. Yeah. Oh, man. Okay, today's been a total blast. I know people are going to want to come on vacation after hearing about all the awesome places that they can check out in Mexico, and no better place to do it than your resource. So where can everybody find you and learn everything about Kay Walten and Loco Gringo?
Okay, well, locogringo.com is my website, and Loco Gringo Mexico is our podcast. We're on iTunes and Stitcher and everything, all those great resources. You can always email me, askkay@locogringo.com. Also, you can Facebook me. Lots of people stalk me there, which is they're more than welcome to. I'm on LinkedIn. So just, reach out anytime, and I'm more than happy to connect with people.
Awesome. That's so great. Kay, thanks for coming on the show today. And we just want to encourage everybody out there listening that control the controllable. As for the rest, keep on flowing. And just be.
You've been listening to Me, Myself, and I Radio with your host, Anthony Hayes. Tune in next time.
Tell me what to do.